I was teaching this graduate level class to the professors, and my students start looking at their cell phones, and one of them is crying, and so I said, "What's going on here?" And they said, "Well, there's been a bombing, and it's right near the university, and a lot of us live there, and we're worried about our kids and our parents who are watching our kids." And so most of my students left, and then I looked out the window, and down below I could see many other students, undergrads, all looking at their cell phones, and everybody was sort of milling around outside the buildings, and clearly, the word had gotten around very quickly about this bombing. So I just happened to have a member of the embassy in my class that day. She was observing my teaching, and she texted the State Department officials, and within, I'd say, half an hour, a man showed up with a flak vest at our classroom, clearly an American, who said, "Grab your stuff, let's go, let's go, let's go." And so we ran downstairs, and there was a waiting SUV with a gunner in the back. And he said, "Get in, and you're probably going to have to duck because there's going to be gunfire we're going through." And it was a quick ride, and there was no gunfire, but there was a gun battle going on, and we were in the consulate within 5 minutes. So the American consulate is high up on a hill, and we were able to observe further attacks. It was all very upsetting for everyone involved, but especially the professors. It happened very close to where they live. And this base, which is run by the Italian military, is right in the middle of their neighborhood. So, it invites violence just by having an army site, the equivalent of a military site, in the middle of your neighborhood. We waited at the consulate all day, 5-6 hours. And finally, it was determined that the gun battle had ended. It was clear to go. The streets were clear. But they said, "Well, if you don't feel comfortable, we can probably bring you into Camp Stone," which is the Army base or the military base. And at that point, I just said, "No, I'll go back to my hotel." And they advised me, though, the consulate officials, not to go back to the university for a time, because they said that I could be the target of protests. So I went back to my hotel, thought about it for a while, talked with the people at my university, and went up the food chain all the way to Long Beach, which is the head of our 23-campus system. And I was strongly encouraged to come back. So after a couple of days, I did, and continued teaching my class remotely through PowerPoint embedded with my video on it.